Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video, I have discussed about how can create one of the component and also how can receive another data with the props. Here only you have to remember when you pass one data, that means one object data from one component to the another component, we have to get this data with the props. But if you want to access the same data, that means if you want to access that the object data, in particular the same component, then you have to deal with the state. Okay, so that is one of the method, and with this method you can actually contain all that your property data. Better I show you with the live example, then everything will be more clear to you. And also you have to remember one thing: state is executed into the class-based component, so it's not working into the function component. So here, for the reasons, I want to create another component. So into the component area, I want to create another new file, and I just name it as a book list. Okay, book list. So this type of one of the component I simply created. So here I simply created as a book list, and now I want to create one of the class-based components. So if you write down as a RCE, now click as a enter. Now you can see our class-based component is now successfully created. So into this component, so into this class-based component, for the first time I want to do here, if you want to create that state, then that is one of the default one of the method. You can do that things with the constructor. So that is our constructor. Okay, so that is our constructor method. So I simply loaded it. So into this constructor, then that will be as a super, that is a super one of the functions, and after that if you want to use it, then that will be the this and then the state. You can see that is one of the another property as a state property. So here after that you have to declare all that your object data. So you can declare that things like that way. Rather than there is also another you can do. Like I want to show you that is very easy. Like I simply call it directly as a state property. You can see that is our state property. So I simply loaded this state property, and into this property area, now that is our object. So into this object I want to declare another property, and I just name it as a book. Okay, for education purpose I name it as a book. And then I want to create another array object. So I simply loaded some of the array object in here, like in our app. Like this one. Okay, this type of one of the things I copy it. Just simply understand how all functionality work, friends. So if that is very core functionality, if you understand, then React will be very easy to you. I simply loaded that name as a book name, and book name will be this one, and then that will be as a our writer. Okay, then another property as a writer. Great. So I simply loaded this one, and also I want to take another one, but I copy it and then I paste it and then paste it. So better I want to copy it from here. I copy it, and then after that I paste it, and also there is another one. I copy it, and also after that I want to paste it. Okay, I simply paste it, and better I make it as a books. Okay, I make it as a books. So right now that is our array object data. So here also you have to use it as a comma. So that will be a 1 comma, that is also another one, because there is I declare another property, and also there is another one as a comma. Great. Now you can see our error is also successfully gone. So I declare one of the state property. Into this state property, that is our object data. So into this object I declare another property as a books, and then into the array here I simply pass all that our object value data. Okay, that is our array value data as a book name, and that is our value, and another one is a writer, that is our another property, and here I pass some of the value. Okay, so that is our state and state property, and that is our book. You can see that is also another property, and there is a book name, that is another property, and also writer, another property. You can see it's also highlighted some of the note as a property. Okay, I simply loaded all the things in here. So that is all that our array. So if you now want to access our first one, array is started from our which index? Array is started from to the 0 index, which I have already discussed about that things with you, friend. I hope you already remembered that part. So right now we don't need this. Here you can declare that things like that way. That means here you have to take it. Okay, here you have to take it in particular that positions. Right now it's fine. You can declare this property directly, which is totally fine, and that is our render, and that is our return. Okay, so into this return area I want to do better. If you go to our app, so into this app I want to do better, that is our dev. Better I copy total things. Okay, I copy it, and now in our book list, and that is our dev, I simply paste it, and now I want to remove everything. So that is our dev is started. By default, that will be another class as the app class, and the h1 tag I want to make it as a book list. Okay, book list. So that will be our h1 tag, and then that is our dev is ended. Great. So that is our dev is ended. So now here I want to display all that our data, right? So here if you want to display this data, that is our book, right? So that is our book. Here I want to display it. So if you want to display it, so I want to do after that I simply loaded our book first. So that will be as a book. I simply loaded this book, and when you click as a enter, now you can see it's now imported that book, that is the same folder, so from to the book. Okay, so it's successfully imported. And now I want to close it. I simply close it. That is a book is closed. Okay, great. So that is our first book. So in particular that position I want to access our first data, that means the first book name. So if you want to access this first book name, I want to do here, I simply loaded that book name, that is a property name, as a book name, and our book name will be what? Our book name will be, that will be our first one, right? First one means here every data in our which place, every data in our state, and then the books, right? And into this books area, that is our first array data. First array data is first index will be as a 0, and then I want to access that book name, right? So for the first time I want to access that state. So now into the area here, if you want to access this state, so we have to access it with the this keyword. Okay, I want to access it with the this keyword, and then the state. So that is the state property, and then the books property, and after that books property I want to access our which data? I want to access that 0 index data. Okay, 0 index means our first one, and then I want to access that book name. Okay friend, I hope it's very clear to you. And also that is same as a writer. I name as a writer name, and writer name will be same, that will be as a this, and then state, this is state property, and then the books, and here I want to access that our first, that means 0 index data. So I simply loaded that 0 index, and 0 index writer data, right? So that will be as a writer. Great. I simply loaded that things in here. If you want to take another one, I simply paste it, and also I paste it. So right now our array will be started from the 0, and then the 1, and then that will be as a 2, right? So that will be as a 1 data. I make it as a 1, and also that will be as a 1 book data, that will be as a 2, and that will be as a 2 book data. Great. Okay friend, I hope it's very much clear to you. So now from here I also export this book list. I want to display it. So now in our app, okay, into this app I want to do better. Right now I remove it. Okay, I remove it from to this position, and here I want to load our this book list. Okay, so if you want to load this book list, then that will be as a book and then list, right? So that will be a book and book list. You can see there is a book list from to the component, and then book list. I simply click as a enter. Now our book list should be loaded, and you can see it's now imported that book list from to the component and then the book list. Great. So now let's check this out. If you now click as a save all, and now if you go now click as a refresh, so now you can see there have some of the error in our state. In here I'm actually using the SQL2 for the reason that is one of the property, right? Into the property we have to use that clone, not that SQL2. I understand. If you go to our book list JS, here you can see I use that as a SQL2, so that will be as a our clone, that will be as a clone, and also then that will be as a clone. Okay, because that is one of the property. And also here we have to update, that will be as a clone, and then clone. I have already taken that things in here, which is totally fine, but I am using that SQL2. So now that should be okay. Now if you click as a save all, and now if you go refresh it again, yes, you can see it's now successfully loaded our same data. Okay, now this data actually comes from here. So in particular that position, so now if you want to change it any data, now click as a save all. Now that should be updated. Click as a refresh. You can see it's now successfully updated. So I hope friend you get some of the ideas. Simply practice it friend. Without practice it's not will be clear to you. So when you practice it, then everything will be more clear. Now you can see here I didn't use any props. So right now all the data in our same the component as a book list component, right? So to this book list component, I simply loaded on the state, I loaded on the object value. So all that our object value I want to do and to display it in here. So now if you want to display it, so I save all that our data, I save all the data with this states property, and here I declare another property as a book. So now I simply access it with the this keyword, then the states book 0 index, and then our book name, that is our property name, right? And then another property as a write, so writer, so that is our writer value. I simply take it, which value I want to take, I want to take that our this states book 0 index, so that is our 0 index data, right? 0 index which data? 0 index our writer property data. So simple work. So here you can actually also make the things dynamic with the state. So that is our state property. How can deal with this state property? I hope it's very much clear to you. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.